Hey Warren, how you doing?
I'm good, Scott. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Congrats on the film.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
watched it this afternoon. It brought up it took me back to a childhood day where you get this unsensing fear of white vans for no apparent reason. A thing that bonds us all with these white vans. What I mean for you as a filmmaker, you're making a film like this. Have you discovered what the psychology behind it is?
Well, what's funny is that I just think there are real stories from the 70s, and there's kind of three specific accounts that really all of this originated from, and then it became more in the 80s, and then of course the 90s and 2000s, and things keep happening. And
Mm,
so it's kind of happened about 50 years ago, and it's just sort of been this symbol of fear now. The story that our story is based on, is the Mansfield family and Billy Mansfield Jr., who was incarcerated as a serial killer in 1980 in California, and then tried for crimes in Florida, which is what our story is really focused on. But there's also Dean Corell and the Toolbox Killer, who were two other serial killers also operating with a white van. And this was all kind of circulating and happening in the 70s. So there's a real reason why while it's become a trope today, there's a real reason why they are so scary, because of some horrible events that happened many years ago.
yeah. I was just talking to some of your amazing cast, and they were saying about shooting it in 30 days, which is, for independent film, even normal film, it's lightning quick. For you as a filmmaker, how was that an advantage? Was it a disadvantage, or did you manage to find a balance? Because as you know, you're doing it in such a short amount of time, need to make sure you get what you get to make it the film that you want to make.
Well, first off, I will say it's never an advantage to have less days to film. Like, I don't know a filmmaker out there who's like, you know what, give me less days to film and I can make magic, right? So we're always just looking for time, right? And the
Oh,
reason for
sure.
that is that it's an artistry and a business that there's so many different people involved, and when you have a crew of 60, or on these in larger studio films, like it's a lot moving pieces to get around, right? But um, on this, like, I would have loved to have any extra time I could, and I sort of fought to kind of pick my battles as far as what scenes we were going to spend more time on, what scenes we might capture in a one shot and hopefully get it in one or two takes, and not spend 13, 14 takes trying to get it. Because you really kind of, it sort of reads like a good, not a thriller novel, right? When you're trying to make a film, because you have your wins and your losses and your ups and your downs, and you just hope at the end of the day that you made all the right choices to make the best film you can.
Yeah, I always remember when I was younger, hearing about how it's got nothing to do with your movie, but how the Terminator was made and how they got some of the shots sort of at the end and they used tin foil and all this kind of stuff. And in your film, did you manage to sneak in some things that you weren't anticipating that you would be able to get, or did you
Well,
not get everything that you were hoping to get?
yeah, so there was when we shot all the primary principal photography in Shreveport, Louisiana, and then we had additional photography that we shot in Florida later with the victims, and we were not able to film the ending in Shreveport, uh, uh, for a million circumstances, COVID, hurricane, actor availability. So we had to shoot the ending, essentially pick up and shoot that in Florida. So we actually had to cheat that house in the interior of the house in Florida and find a way creatively to do that. So that was fun. But when we did that shoot, I had a couple of shots that I really wanted to get. One of them was when Annie is under the van in the
Mm.
Orange Grove, and I desperately wanted to get shots, like close-ups of her in that intense moment with her head buried in the grass, listening, waiting, anticipating, hoping that the van would move on. I mean, I didn't have it. So when we were shooting the additional ending pieces, I just talked to the cinematographer while we were doing this other setup, and it wasn't part of our day because the producers were like, "We don't have time for that," right? And that's their job, and it's my job to find a way, figure out a way to go sneak shots. So while he was setting up one shot, I just said, "Hey, I need a 4x4 flag." and have the camera ready. And I need to match the lighting from the orange grove, which we shot in Louisiana. I was like, it's going to be a close up, so we don't need a big, wide area to light. And I'm just gonna get her head buried in this grass, listening to the van. And so we did. We snuck it. Producers never knew. And then later they're watching it and they're like, wow, that scene really came alive. What did we do? Like, nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing to see here.
Doesn't matter. It's moot now. We've
Right.
got it. It's moot.
We got it.
Oh, I love stories like that. I'm so glad I got to hear a story like that. I love that. Listen, I enjoyed the film. Thank you so much for your time. Absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey,